How y'all doing? I'm Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. Back from his Disneyland trip is the greatest co-host in the world, Mike the Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
Doing good. Finally, the curse is officially broken. I thought it was broke last season, but then we lost to Arizona, but I was at Universal. So this was like the test, the litmus test. Is it now a universal curse and we've won 2 straight times while I was at Dallas? Or is it still a vacation curse and it was just a one game issue? But it was it turned out that the curse is broken. We have now won 2 straight while I was officially at Disneyland. So I'm happy that's done.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Mike, I really appreciated all the churro pics while you were at Disneyland out there on Twitter, aka X. Let the people know where they can find you there.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet, guys. Nice and easy.
And joining us for tonight's discussion is the president of the Jake Ferguson fan club. Brenden Smith is here tonight. Brenden, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's always fun to talk ball.
Yes, sir. Brenden, where can we find you on Twitter, aka X?
AKA X. You can find me at Brenden_Smith26.
I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. You know, my intro's kind of messed up, Mike, because I thought it had been 3 years since we started the show that we haven't won a game while you were at Disneyland, but I forgot you were technically I guess at Disneyland last year on your birthday and Christmas Eve when Dallas beat the Eagles.
No, I was home for that one. It was the Texans game, I believe. Was the one
like the 10-9 or whatever that was?
It was super close, and that's what made me freak out about it. I was like, well, maybe the Texans were just too horrible to even be cursed. But no, we beat a really down Seahawks team. So they came with a big fight, and Dak dragged me out of the curse.
Yes, sir. Well, the Disney curse, or as our guy Prescott called it, the Mouse House curse, has officially been lifted, Mike. Typically, this would be where we discuss Meatless Monday, but it's only right that Mike shares his Disney trip with us. So, Mike, I'm curious, which park or parks did you go to this time?
Disneyland and Disney California. I was at both. So, yeah, I have my pass is the Imagine Key, which is the high end one. So you get park hopper with that.
So, okay. What is the difference between the 2 parks that you went to? Like, what all attractions are there?
Okay, so Disneyland's your traditional, the park that came in. They also have Star Wars Land, which is Galaxy's Edge, the newest land. They have Toontown, and then the Tomorrowland Frontier, Fantasy, Adventure, and Main Street. And then California Adventure has Avengers Campus, Cars Land, Pixar Pier, the Grizzly. What would that area be called? The area where there's the Grizzly water raft and Soaring Over California, and then the Hollywood Studios area, which has Monsters Inc. It has the place where the Sorcerer's workshop is and stuff like that. So I went to all of them, did everything. I was there like 5 days.
So it was like the Harry Potter park. Is that in Disney World?
That's Universal, sir.
Oh, okay.
That's not a Disney property.
I got you. It's not. Okay. I don't know why I thought it was for some reason. Well, it sounds like you did a lot over the weekend, Mike. Which ride is your favorite of all the rides that you rode?
So this is weird because my favorite attraction is Rise of the Resistance. It's the Star Wars ride, but I don't feel like that's a ride as much as like a full on like it's more than a ride. Like, it's not fair to just call that a ride. It's like an attraction. There's like a show and a ride and like 2 different types of rides. It's like 16 minutes long. So I don't put that as much in the ride category. So my favorite ride would be Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout, which is, for people that know Tower of Terror, the elevator that drops
Yeah.
It's like the Disney, the California version of that. It's a rethemed Tower of Terror ride, and it's themed around Guardians of the Galaxy, and you're helping them escape from the collector who's trapped them.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I know you ate a lot of good food over the week, man. What was the best thing you ate?
It's funny because it's just called bread with chicken. It's called pan con pollo, and
Okay.
pan means bread, con is with,
Yeah.
and pollo is chicken. So Brenden would like that because it has bread in the name.
Redmond.
It was braised chicken, pickled veg with like a mustard dressing, spiced tomato sauce, and mayo. It wasn't too messy. There was another dish that I really liked, but it was too messy. It made the bun all soggy and hard to eat. Otherwise, that probably would have been my favorite. But this one was nice and composed and really tasty. So, yeah, it was definitely easily my favorite.
So not a torta, but a chicken sandwich still.
It was very. If they would have called it a torta, that basically is what it was a torta.
I got you. I know you shared about 7 or 8 churro picks, Mike. I know which one was my favorite. Which churro was the best?
It's tough because the gingerbread churro with butterscotch sauce was really good. The almond butter churro was amazing, good texture.
That looked incredible.
Yeah. I'd say my favorite was the Yule log churro. It was a chocolate cream-filled churro, and it had this berry sauce on it. And the first bite I took, I got a lot of the berry sauce, and I was like, whoa, that's tart. I don't know about this. Yeah. And then I started to get the chocolate and the filling and how it mixed, super sweet filling, rich chocolate churro. And then this berry sauce was like tart to cut through that. And that ended up being my favorite. It was really good.
The Yule log, interesting, man. They always have every churro pick that you send, when you send the description and everything, I'm like, man, these all sound so good. I've only had your main, your traditional churro, just the cinnamon sugar one, but all the ones in Disneyland sound incredible.
I don't even eat those churros anymore. I only go after the specialty churros now.
Rightfully so, man. You revealed a little bit what you spent on souvenirs. I won't put your business out there, Mike, but what were some of the souvenirs you did get?
Yeah, I spent quite a bit. Let me see. I had a little Robin Hood statue. I love Robin Hood. I think it's the most underrated Disney movie of all time. And you don't get a lot of merch from it. So I got that. It's like an artist type statue, so more on the expensive side. And then I got a Festival of Holidays Magic Key hoodie. You can only buy them if you're a Magic Key holder. That's why I like those, because it's kind of like a flex. I got a green Christmas shirt. I got a Lion King hoodie. I got a Tomater Christmas bucket. I got a couple pairs of socks. I got a Star Wars Loungefly bag. I loaded up on this one. Yeah, I spent a little bit of change.
It seems like that's the part of you that's like, this is the part of the year where you splurge on yourself.
Yeah, that sounds gross, but
splurge, not splooge. All right, Mike, did you, I know, I don't know if the people you were with are big Cowboys fans, but did you get to watch the game?
It's funny because they go back to the hotel to get naps. They have kids and stuff like that. I don't really do that, but it was funny to see the reverse. Like, I went back and was like, I kept texting them like, no, the game's too close. I'm screwed. I'm going to have to watch this stupid game all the way through. All mad. And they're like, it's cool, dude. We go back for like 3 hours every day to rest, so it's no big deal. But, I watched the whole game on my phone on Amazon Prime, tilted up with the remote, laying in bed, watched the whole damn thing.
Oh, that sounds terrible, dude. I'd hate to watch a game like that, man, but that's just me.
It was cool. I have the Max phone, one of the Max, so they're bigger. It worked out fine.
That's cool. So did Dallas winning make this the best Disney trip ever? Of course, I did this forgetting that this Disney curse was somewhat lifted already.
Either way, it was not going to be the best ever because I had an inner ear infection. I can't hear out of my left ear currently. which may be why it sounds like I'm shouting. I don't know. To me, it sounds like I'm shouting. So I there's nothing like nothing right now if I plug this. So, it was a rough trip. I've got all you guys know the leg issues, and I got some foot problems going on right now. I stayed in the cart mostly, which I don't do every trip. I get a cart, but most of the time I'll take it to a land, then walk around the land, and then go back to the cart. This one I pretty much stuck to the cart, and then the ear thing was like, it was brutal. But I still, I'm not going to let it send me to the hotel or I'm not going to cry about it. I got to go to Disneyland and eat wonderful food and hang out with. I love those people, the Westons. They're amazing, and so it was awesome. I'm hoping that their boss doesn't listen to this show because they had COVID. So
oh boy.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry. Westons with a I in. Different one. Mateo and Amande Weston. Totally different people than who you think, boss of the winery.
Well, guys, keep the Westons in your prayers as they try to overcome this battle with COVID, and keep Mike in your prayers as he deals with the rare ear COVID virus that's been going around here. Brenden, you've been a little quiet, so we'll start off with you. Does this end the Dallas doesn't beat better teams discussion in your eyes after beating Seattle?
It won't be because the national media will never want to give Dallas anything, but Seattle fought their ass off. Like, this was one of the most hard-fought games I've ever seen. It was insane. Their defense was coming out. Even our offense killed them. But Geno Smith was rolling down the field. DK with having 3 touchdowns. JSN looking great. So I think it should. But talk to me after Sunday, and then we'll really get that debate going.
Absolutely. Mike, what about you? Does this victory end that debate about Dallas not being able to beat better competition?
I think Brenden said it perfectly. Talk to me after Sunday. Sunday is going to be the standard.
It was crazy, man. Seattle, after an embarrassing loss of Thanksgiving, that they're going to come to this game hungry. We've seen opponents give Dallas their best every week this season. And, that Seattle offense is not to be slept on, man. And we saw that firsthand on Thursday night. It was a great game. I had tweeted out, was this, a game of the year potentially? And maybe I got a little bit ahead of myself, but that was an incredible game.
It was a great battle between two offenses. And then our defense made stops and theirs didn't ever make any stops. Neither of them played well, but our defense got a stop or two and their defense just really didn't.
Well, this was the fourth game in NFL history that didn't have a punt. Was it the fourth or the fifth?
Fifth, I believe.
And Mike McCarthy's been part of 60% of those games. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
We know that defense wasn't necessarily was a big issue, but was the defensive issues more about schedule fatigue in your eyes, Mike?
I think it was part of it. That people forget the 3 days. The 3 games in 12 days. Every team has it, but other teams have it in Sunday, Thursday, Sunday, where they get the 10 days. Where we have ours Sunday, Thursday, Thursday. So it's tough to have that, not have that 10 days after you play a game Sunday, a game Thursday. You don't get the extra 3 days to build your body up, and I think that did have a lot to do with it. If you watch a lot of our young players, the guys that are in their first or second year, were not playing very good. And that is the reason why, they struggled, fatigue-wise. Also, Seattle switched up their game plan, and they had something unique for us, which typically happens, when you play Dallas, you're going to come with your A game. So they had a specific game plan to us, a lot of stuff we hadn't seen before. And I think that plus the fatigue really made us look worse than we actually are.
Brenden, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, first off, Mike said that perfectly. It wasn't The only thing I would add onto it was matchups. I was talking with my dad before the game. I'm like, Gilmore is great because he has height against DK, but Bland has speed. It's like, who do you want? Speed got destroyed by size. That's what we saw. And so I thought matchups as well. Stephon Gilmore is better against bigger bodies, and then it's small JSN or Tyler Lockett.
Absolutely. Speaking of Bland, did this game end his chance of winning or end his chance of being nominated as the Defensive Player of the Year in your eyes, Brenden?
Sadly, it does. I don't think he was in he's top 3, but I don't feel like he was, of course, near the upper echelon of it. So he's getting his name out there. He's gonna be a Pro Bowler now. He already has the record. But I think this ends it because they'll always bring this up now. So
Mike,
it was an ugly game.
Yeah.
He had a bad game. I think the awards are pretty much an edge rusher award, so he's a long shot anyway. I will say that 8 takeaways and 5 touchdowns, I don't know realistically, like if you realistically thought of it as a voter, like what is more valuable than 8 takeaways and 5 scores for your team? Like how do you get more valuable than that on defense? Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think voters will think like that. It typically goes to edge rushers, just how it is. And more people will make a big deal out of Micah's last play ending the game than they will on Bland getting a turnover, probably because we got no points out of that one. But,
yeah,
it makes it hard. He would have to continue he would have to put up like another 3-4 interceptions and at least 1 return for a touchdown in one of the big, like he'd have to do it the Philly game, Buffalo, or Miami. He'd have to get a pick 6 in one of those, and he would have to get 3 or 4 more interceptions where he was in that range of Diggs, 11, 12.
I want to say credit to Bland, man, for having the half that he did and getting kind of torched and beat the way that he did and staying locked in and getting an interception that, of course, didn't result in any points, but just for him to kind of redeem himself, man, that says a lot about him and the type of player that he is.
Agreed.
Is the offense the strongest unit on the team now, Brenden?
The way Dak's playing, yeah. Like the defense, they'll hold their own on most, but they haven't against the games we've either been close by or lost to. So that's a debate for a little while. But dude, this offense is on fire. Dak, that's the reason why you won, is because Dak will put the entire 52-man roster with him and carry them to the win. So yeah.
Mike, I think this was your question. I assume you feel the same way?
The pass offense, definitely, but let me check. There was something I wanted to get on my phone, a stat that I had bookmarked and I forgot to write down. But on the pass offense, obviously, Dak's killing. And then the run game was kind of the question mark. Like, is the run game strong enough for this unit to be better than the special teams, which is with Anger and Aubrey, they're pretty dominant. They don't allow a lot of returns, so they're really good. And then the defense has been great all year. But in the run game, Tony Pollard's forced the 3rd most missed tackles since week 10, and he's 5th in rushing yards after contact in that span. So the run game's starting to get going with Pollard. The pass game is as good as there is in football, probably a tier above anyone else right now with Prescott, just because he doesn't turn the ball over, and he's pretty much a machine up and down the field right now. So, yeah, I would have to agree. I'd have to say they are number 1.
There was a lot of memorable moments in this game, Mike. What was your favorite? Was it maybe the Dak flexing after the big, close to first down run, or was it the Ferguson stare down after the touchdown, or getting in Adams' face after getting the first down, or was it something else?
Mine was Tank Lawrence getting that 4th down stop, because it's just, man, we took that guy for granted. And I know he didn't get 10, 11 sacks, but when he got his contract, we kind of like, all right, are you going to be a 10-sack guy, this and that? And he was always doing this stuff, but he didn't have a guy on the other side to back him up or a defensive tackle like Osa to back him up. He didn't have either of those things. And now that he does, it allows you to really see the stuff that Lawrence does for this team. And I mean, like, that probably won you the game. Obviously, Dak won you the game, clearly. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, the nail in the coffin was that 4th and 1 where he just jumps inside, beats 2 people, tackles the running back on a 4th and 1, and we got the ball back. And that was basically it. Like, just an incredible play. And so, yeah, that one was my number 1.
Brenden, what about you? What was your favorite moment of the game?
Well, first off, we already know where I'm going with this. Come on. Dude, that Ferguson, first off, I love him. Like, there's no words I can really describe how I feel watching him play. But the hurdle was awesome. I'm going to say the game-winning touchdown, not because of what he did to Jamal Adams. It's because CeeDee Lamb pointed and laughed at him. You got clowned when he trucked your ass. And then you get beat for the game-winning touchdown, and their number 1 receiver points and laughs at you. Dude, and then we see that awful thing he posted about that reporter and stuff. So you're just an awful human being, and you get exposed. Just get shit on.
Pretty awesome moment from Fergie and CD there. I loved when Dak got in Tariq Woolen's face, who I found out today that he actually went to the same high school that I did. So I had to find out that was actually pretty cool. But, just seeing Dak flexing on somebody, getting in somebody's face, I love that mentality, seeing from our team leader and just seeing it from other players on our team.
I feel like Ferguson is becoming the offense's J-Ron Curse, like that leader attitude guy, the guy that's going to get in somebody's face and pump you up. I like that.
Yeah. Speaking of having attitude, Mike, is the mindset needed to win a championship starting to show in Dallas?
There's flashes of it. Dak obviously has got it. I mean, now he's elite. He's QB1 right now. It's ridiculous what he's doing. And then there's the Tank and Micah at the end of the games, the 4th down play, and then Micah's played on the last play of the game, basically, for them. J-Lou and Bland's interception. J-Lou a couple of pass breakups on big plays. And then the coaching aggressiveness. Like, I didn't agree with all of them. I'm not going to lie, but I like the mentality of we're playing to win games. We're not playing to do what we can and hope it works out. We're aggressive. We're trying to win. We don't want to let's do what we can to make it hard on them and then hopefully stop them. No, we're just going to win it. I like that. So, yeah, that it's coming. I wouldn't say it's all the way there, but it's leaning. It's more than 50% now. That's the best it's been in a really long time.
What about you, Brenden? Do you think that Dallas is starting to show that championship mindset?
If you listen to sounds from the sideline, dude, this entire team, first off, they love each other. Like, they're all pumped up for any play that happens. Turpin with that big grab in the first drive. That drive ended not great, but the entire sideline screaming, yelling Turpin time. They're all freaking out. And if you hit Dak Prescott, they were all coming to kill you. I still remember that play with Andy Dalton against Washington. He gets absolutely murdered, and the team just walked away, just getting ready to line back up. Yeah, it's not completely there, but no, Mike's right. They're getting there, and it's so much fun to watch a team just ready to attack anybody.
Absolutely. Well, we have a comment here. Let's see. Prescott, I'm glad we held off on shipping Jordan Lewis off to the Renegades.
Little callback for old Brenden Smith there.
Hey, this way. I was already prepared. I'm already prepared. This way, but Prescott won't let me do anything, man. He'll always bring up everything. Dang it.
He will remind you of your mishaps, Brenden. I promise you that. I've known the guy for over 20 years. He will let you know.
I respect it, though. You gotta hold people accountable. I respect it.
He will definitely do that. Shout out to Prescott, man, our guy here. Mike, through week 13, who are your top 3 MVP candidates?
I got CMC number 1. If it wasn't a QB only award, I think he would be the top guy. They're the best team. We've seen what they did to Philly. They ragdolled them in their house. And then I have Dak. He is the most important position. He's playing it better than anyone else. His team is a game behind for the best record. So I got to have him up there. I think he's outplaying any other quarterback right now. I think he's more valuable than any other quarterback. If you're looking at Jalen Hurts, I think a lot of us would agree their O-line is at least as important as their quarterback is. I think if you look at the Niners, Debo, Trent Williams, and CMC, all could be up there as important. Miami has Tyreek Hill, going for 2,000 yards, who is my third guy, by the way. Dak is the one guy that it's like, no, you take him off, you're effed, So mine are CMC, Dak, and Tyreek Hill. And I won't argue whatever order you want. I would probably have my votes in that order: CMC, Dak, and Tyreek Hill.
You get no argument from me. Brenden, how about you? Who are your top 3?
Every time I come on this show, man, every time we go and we're going to, me and Mike are on the same page. I just have it in a different order. I will, first of all, just how Dak's playing, and he's a quarterback. I have him at 1 just because he's a quarterback. But if it was a positionless, you didn't see anything, you see what the production they're doing, I would probably, and then goes Tyreek, then CMC, because Debo popped off. Like, CMC had a great game against the Eagles. Debo popped off. I know that. I had him in fantasy. He's probably one of the main reasons why I won. So, yeah, but I'll say Dak just because he's in the most important position.
Fair.
Yeah, when you word it that way, of course, it's CMC, Tyreek, and Dak. I mean, you can't argue too much with that. But considering it is a quarterback award, that's kind of exactly where my mind went. So for me, I have Dak Prescott number 1, Jalen Hurts number 2, and then at number 3, I have C.J. Stroud.
I think that's fair. If you're going quarterbacks, that would probably be the 3. C.J. Stroud, crazy.
He's amazing,
what
dude.
Kid's doing in Houston, like
he's gonna shatter so many records.
Tank Dell and Noah Brown and Nico Collins are nice. They're not like bad players or anything, but they're not something that you should be putting up 300 yards a night with. Like, shout out Tank Dell, get better like as soon as possible, man. God, that sucks. Such a good kid. Get back.
Imagine telling like your fan base, hey, we're gonna get a rookie head coach. We're gonna draft your quarterback of the future, and we're gonna get a defensive player. And they're like, okay, that's great. Your head coach is balling out in his rookie year. Your rookie quarterback's in the MVP consideration, rookie quarterback, and your defensive end that you drafted is looking like an all-pro. He had like 10, 11 pressures against Denver from what I watched with Cooper. How do you do this in your rookie season as you're rebuilding? 2 years.
Ryans might be special. He might be.
In 2 years, this team's gonna be a perennial contender. If they get them on actual number 1 receiver, I don't know, man.
If Bengals are tied with Jaguars right now, I think Jags will end up winning. But if they were able to pull this upset, Houston's sitting there like right there for the division.
And they kind of got screwed out of that game against Jacksonville. Otherwise, they'd be number 1 in the division right now. I think the Texans are like on that Bengals trajectory where it's like they get the hot young quarterback, franchise quarterback, and then year number 2, all of a sudden they sneak into the Super Bowl. That's exactly where the Texans are going. But I think they might actually be better than that Bengals team.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm not ready to call C.J. Stroud Burrow yet. I mean, Burrow was like nutsoid.
Oh wow,
he's like there really. Like when I think about it, I'm like, well, he's not Burrow. But then I look at what he's done, and I'm like, that's pretty Burrow-ish.
Dude, that's Burrow-ish.
Yeah.
With less, I mean, I don't know. I know you're not saying you don't dislike Nico Collins, but with kind of lesser weapons than T. Higgins and
sure.
Jamar Chase. But Nico Collins and Tank Dell, bro, I'd be happy with those guys.
I'm not taking any of the Houston Texans' three main weapons over the top two Bengals guys, over Higgins or Chase.
Yeah.
3 with Boyd.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think Nico Collins is a beast, bro.
Boyd, I think I'd take Collins, but it's like it's not like Boyd's like way lower,
Yeah.
But I'm not taking Nico Collins over T. Higgins or Chase, so that tells you CJ Stroud is something, man. That kid is something.
Yeah, for sure. Back to the show sheet here, guys. Brenden, was this an MVP resume game for Dak?
Yeah. How could it not? Oh, he can't beat winning teams. He can't beat winning teams. He is the reason you won. He is the complete reason. If you get half of what Dak has done that game, you lose easily. And all those people, Cooper Rush could do exactly what Dak does in this offense. Brother, you get blown out by 40. You get your defense played, and then you have Cooper Rush. Oh, brother. You'll have Tony Pollard probably get hurt because he had 40 carries. And this is just a shit show. And you're just like, why am I here? Why do we watch this team? Dak Prescott, what do you want? What do you want more from him? He had a rushing touchdown, too, that got called back because of a Terrence Steele holding call. Like, I don't know what else you want. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. No turnovers? Yeah.
Mike, was this an MVP resume game for Dak?
Masterpiece. He dragged his team to a win that this team typically loses. His running game, I think, Pollard averaged 3 points. They averaged 4 yards a carry, and CeeDee Lamb had 2 carries for 30 yards. So that tells you everybody else was not running great efficiently. The defense was getting smoked. And if he makes any mistake, if he makes an interception, a strip sack, it's over. Never made that mistake. Played a perfect, flawless game to beat a desperate team, that was trying to save their season with the games against Niners and Eagles coming up. So, yeah, I'd say that and I was at Disneyland. That alone right there should be MVP 1.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I have not too much more to add to that. I mean, this was definitely something you can add to the resume for Dak's MVP. Not most definitely, like you said, Mike, just one mistake and the Dallas loses this game for sure. So, yeah, this was, like you said, man, a masterpiece from Dak. Was this a signature win for the Cowboys team overall, Mike?
No, you got to wait for Philly. They got Philly at Buffalo, at Miami, and then Detroit at their house. Any of those 4 signature wins. But if you don't beat Philly, none of them will matter. So Philly's the signature win. You got to beat Philly Sunday.
Man, I'm excited and nervous for the stretch, but there's some tough games, but none of these teams scare me, man. I'm just excited to see what Dak's going to do.
They're good enough to win if they're playing at a high level. If they match if they match all those teams' level of play, they could win out.
What about you, Brenden? Was this a signature win for the Cowboys team?
No, because first off, Seattle got absolutely demolished on Thanksgiving against San Fran. And also, it's like, no, Mike said it perfect. We don't win these games. We don't. When's the last time you've seen Dallas come back and win and you see a great defensive drive? I haven't. I've never seen that. But no, if it's Philly. But we're at Miami. I swear we were in Dallas for the Christmas Eve game.
No, it's at Buffalo, at Miami, Dallas at home against Detroit.
Oh, I knew we were at Buffalo. I thought it was the other way around. Okay.
Brenden, who's your player of the game?
Okay, well, first off, it should be Dak, but just because I know Mike's going to talk about him, I'm going to go back with my guy, Jake Ferguson, because CeeDee Lamb had a great game, get some drops. That's the only reason why I'm not going to talk more about Lamb, Lamb still popped off. Yeah. Jake Ferguson threw a simple drag route and got you a first down. I forgot what the down and distance was, but that third down was far, and Jake Ferguson hurdled the guy. Jake Ferguson, he is the father of Jamal Adams. He owns him. He gets cheap shotted by Devin Witherspoon. Actually, 2 plays, kind of. One was iffy, but the other one was targeting that wasn't called. And Jake Ferguson pops back up and just puts his arm out and says first down because he doesn't care. And he'll go and fight anybody. It's Jake. I love him, man. I've never had this much fun watching a tight end. I didn't get to watch Witten in his prime, so that's the only reason I can say that. But, dude, Ferguson is the most fun player I've watched in a long time.
Mike, how about you? Who's your player of the game?
I don't even need to talk more about him. It is Dak.
Yeah.
MVP.
See, I knew that. I knew the answer. That's why I can talk about Ferguson.
I thought you might throw a curveball and maybe say DeMarcus Lawrence because Dak's the obvious answer. So I thought you might go away from the chalk.
No, he played too well because CeeDee Lamb obviously
duh,
is an easy one, but
yeah,
no, it's Dak. He was ridiculous.
Absolutely, Dak is also my answer. Mike, who's your player spotlight for the week?
DaRon Smith. I wanted him to practice. I didn't know if I was good with him not practicing at all. No, don't practice, dude. Just do whatever you're doing because he just goes in and locks up people. Like Steele is still getting beat a little bit too much, and Biotish gets beat occasionally, but the other three are studs. And re-sign up Tyron now. I don't even, whatever. Just sign him up for another year or two, and we'll deal with, whatever injuries come with it. He's too good to just let walk.
Absolutely. Brenden, how about you? Which player deserves a spotlight on their performance?
I know I had to say this because of all the shit talk I do, and I talk a lot. I have to say Jordan Lewis because those two breakups were pivotal.
Yeah.
Even during the game because he was getting beat early. He was getting beat. I'm like, oh no, not again. I was already terrified of before when we talked about it before the game. Those two breakups, he hasn't done that since the Saints game when he spied Alvin Kamara. That's the last time I remember him making these type of impact plays. He balled out in that fourth quarter. He single-handedly stopped those drives and those plays. And I'm like, oh, I know you were texting me, Paul, during it. It happened again. I have to. I got to give credit where credit's due. He balled out in that fourth quarter, which saved us the game.
Good spotlight.
Like that. That's a good call. For me, I'm going with Tony Pollard. Mike, I know you mentioned the inefficiency of the run game, but Pollard, he had over 80 total yards. He had 7 first downs, a touchdown for the third game in a row, and he handled over 20 touches, man. And, he had a little bit of a workhorse role that game, and I thought he had maybe not something that sets the stat sheet on fire, but he played a big role in that game, man. And he's been coming on these last few weeks. He's just adding another element to our offense that I think is really going to take us to the next level.
Yeah, they're not running good enough to be able to rely on it, but it's definitely picking up steam, especially Pollard. Like the stat I said, 18 missed tackles, I believe it was, and what was it, like 5th in yak yards? So I gotta give him credit.
Let's see, Prescott here. I got to give Brenden his flowers, a man that can graciously admit when he's pooped the bed a wee bit.
Hey, for most of the game, I was right, but he did right the ship in the fourth quarter.
He did. Can you imagine pooping the bed, like just waking up and he pooped the bed? How crazy would that be?
Prescott acted like he was talking from experience a little bit there.
No comment down here, all right? No comment.
Okay, Mike, here we are, your views from the sideline. Was it about DK's play style skill set that gave Bland so many issues, you think?
It just wasn't a good matchup. The size and speed of Metcalf is too much for a lot of guys. It's the NFL in 2023 where you can't just manhandle and get your hand on people and be physical. The best corners are going to get beat. That's why the yards allowed stat was so stupid the year the 1 year that it was the thing when Trayvon Diggs had 11 interceptions. They were trying to make it like the all-pro with 11 interceptions. Like, oh, yeah, but he gave up yards. Like, who cares? He had 11 interceptions. He was shutting guys like Terry McLaurin down complete games. I don't care that he gave up a big play to the Bengals' 4th-string wide receiver on some gimmick throw. Like, it's all right, so I missed that comment, but it seems to. Again, no comment from me.
All right, Brendan, true or false? The quarterback of the team who wins the NFC East will win the MVP award.
It's so depressing, but yeah, if Philly, apparently people can see Philly losing more games, but it'll be a big discussion next week after after the Eagles game. We're gonna be talking a lot, either really happy or like, oh shit, what are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So, right, it's true. It hurts my soul. And Jalen Hurts wins. It's disgusting.
Mike, how about you? The quarterback of the team who wins the NFC East will win the MVP award.
I think Dak would. I just don't. I'd have to see how Hurts played in the game. Like if he played really great and they upset us and we gave us our only home loss, I think he would. But I think if Dak wins the NFC East, he would get the award. I think if Hurts win the NFC East, it might go to Purdy. And I don't believe Purdy should be MVP. I think he's not the most valuable player on his own offense. How could he be the most valuable player in the league? I think there's an outside chance Tua gets it if he throws up 5,000 yards and they end up winning the AFC East. So I'm going to say false because I don't. Ever since the Kansas City game, I've said I don't think Dallas has a chance to division. It's over there. I don't think they can run the table against the teams that they have to play. And I don't see very many losses for Philly other than us Sunday.
Can I make a case for Purdy real quick?
Sure. It's not going to be a good case, though.
What happened in the NFC Championship game when Brock Purdy left that game?
You started Johnson.
Joe Johnson was tied at halftime.
I know, but I'm just saying what happened, though.
Once Joe Johnson got hurt, then Philly demolished. But Joe Johnson took him down and tied the game 7-7. Like, boom, boom, boom. And honestly, it shouldn't even been 7-7 because Devontae Smith catch wasn't a catch. That was a fourth down play. It should have been incomplete. And that was the only time they scored. So like it was when they had no QB, not necessarily just Brock Purdy. It's once the other guy went out as well, and they had was a guy that had no arm or McCaffrey playing. That's when it was officially over.
I don't know, man. I think, the system is a big help, and obviously the pieces there, but I think Brock Purdy's underappreciated just because of his head coach and because of Christian McCaffrey.
As soon as I saw
it wasn't for the fact that I thought Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams for sure were more valuable honestly, Debo's got to be close. I won't put him ahead, but he's close. So I just can't be like, oh, you're the league MVP, and it's like, well, CMC is really their team MVP. Like you look at Dak is MVP. Even take Philly. You can't say the whole offensive line. So you would go, well, Hurts is their MVP, even though the offensive line really is what powers them. You can't pick out one offensive lineman. And with Niners, I could clearly go, well, it's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, clearly. So it's hard for me to go, he's league MVP if he's not even the MVP on his own team.
No, you made a good case earlier when talking about if you take Dak away from the Cowboys, what are they? If you take, I just feel like if Christian McCaffrey got injured and missed a few weeks, but they still had Trent Williams and then Brock Purdy, that Elijah Mitchell would, not fill the stat sheet the way that Christian McCaffrey would, but that offense would still be pretty elite.
They would still be good, but if they ran into a defense, that can match up and they didn't have the nightmare that is Christian McCaffrey, it would be, you would see more of a difference than if you just replace Purdy with a Purdy-esque quarterback,
Yep. Like Christian McCaffrey and the Niners offense instills fear, while Brock Purdy and Elijah Mitchell's like, I feel pretty good about this matchup in the playoff game.
Yeah, that's right. Not that they wouldn't beat you.
Exactly.
yeah, you fear Christian McCaffrey. You go into a game saying, I got to stop Christian McCaffrey.
Right. So shout out to Jordan Stockman. He shared something here. Mike, I imagine you might have the channel on the game here, but looks like Trevor Lawrence might be hurt.
I have it on. Did the quarterback just false start? I think that just happened.
Let's hope not. That would really suck for the Jags. I mean, when good quarterbacks are playing, it's obviously the league so much better to watch and a lot more fun, but goodness gracious,
I missed it, but what I'll do is while we start we got top 5 coming up, I think.
Yeah, we're about to get to one word as well. So I'll start with you, Brenden, while Mike looks this up. Brenden, one word. Dak Prescott's level of play this season has been blank.
Oh, no.
There's so many other words, but just because what he had to go through last year, the turnover, it's nothing short of impressive. I
like it.
He's so confident. He's flexing on people. He's got a big smile.
Yeah, he's hurt. God, he got stepped on his
ankle or something, knee or what?
He's hurt. That sucks, man.
You hate to see that, man, especially for one of the younger premier quarterbacks in the league. Jaguars looking like they're on their way to another division title into the playoff runs, man.
Let's hope that it's something that has to do with like a ankle sprain or something a pull more than a ligament. It wasn't something that was for sure like, oh, he tore his ligament, but it could be as bad as an Achilles. That's the problem.
That's never fun. So on a brighter note, Mike, Dak Prescott's level of play this season has been blank.
MVP level with a little dash in between. So it's
gotcha.
So it's one word. MVP level.
So I had a difficult time with this one. At first, I said deafening, but my wife was quick to remind me that while it sounded good, wasn't actually accurate. It was the wrong context. So she said silencing, and I said, yeah, that sounds kind of good. But then I, did a little bit more digging myself, and I came up with masterful. Dak Prescott's level of play this season has been masterful, especially this stretch of games. I think he's one of 5 quarterbacks to have a 6-game stretch where you have 20 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I mean, what more can you ask from the guy?
I'm going to be honest. I like silencing.
Yeah.
All the talk about his turnovers,
silencing the critics and the haters,
and he's not. He's Kirk Cousins level. He's that tier, and he can't take
the black Kirk Cousins.
That he silenced people. I don't want to hear that no more. Look, Dak may play poorly the rest of the way, and we get knocked out in the first round. Kirk Cousins will never play versus whatever competition you want to put him against at the NFL level. He'll never play like Dak has played over there since week 5. Like, he just won't. So I don't want to hear that BS anymore.
No disrespect though to Kirk Cousins, because man, he, this season with all that was wrong with Minnesota, he was actually having his best season of his career before he got
very good year.
All right, I don't know, I'm not sure what Prescott means with this, but cinnamon ? Prescott, you have to give us some more context there because I know how much you love cinnamon, but Brenden and CD Piglet are not aware of that. So, share some more, give us some context there. But here's the we're getting close to the end of the show, and of course we cannot end any show without doing my personal favorite segment, or one of my personal favorite segments, top 5. This is an exciting category this week. We're ranking our top 5 favorite video games, and Prescott wanted to be included in this, so he gave me his top 5 list as well. But we'll start with you, Brenden. Give us number 5 on your list.
Wait, let me make sure I got the order correct.
And just so you guys know, we are doing individual games, not franchises. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, no, this would have been completely different if this was video game franchises. But I went Pokemon Fire Red. It's one of the remastered versions of the old games on the Game Boy. I love that. It was the first Pokemon game I ever played as a kid. I used my brother's account, so I already had a legendary. And so I just ran around destroying everything.
Nice.
I know that
Mike,
one.
how about you?
I know that one. Mitchell played all the Pokemons. I'm going new for number 5. I'm going to do a new school one. I am going to put I didn't write this down because I couldn't decide which new game I wanted to put because I really love Spider-Man 2, but I feel like I haven't played it enough to let it. I'm gonna go the original Castlevania. I'm not doing the new one because I haven't played them enough to put them in that list, the top 5. You got to have replayability for that. So let me go with the original NES Castlevania, where you throw the holy water and you have the whip and you toss the crosses that go at the art. Yeah, I'm going to go original Castlevania number 5.
All right, we'll start with Prescott's before we get to mine. He wanted to share some honorable mentions. He has Deus Ex, Human Revolution, and God of War 2 as his honorable mention. Number 5 on his list is Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater, Subsistence.
Great choice. Great choice. 3. I'm surprised he went 3, but it is a beautiful game.
I feel like Metal Gear Solid 2 was like the legendary one, right? Of all the Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Correct. And then 3 came along and was kind of like a prequel that talked about Big Boss and stuff. Great game. Some of the best boss fights of all time.
Yes, sir. Our number 5 on my list, I want to give a shout out to my cousins. I know they're not listening, but if in case they are, shout out to Cameron, shout out to Chandler, and shout out to Caden. There was a period in time when I was shacked up with my aunt and uncle for a little while, and one summer they would come over swimming every day, and we'd be grilling and chilling, and every night, man, we'd hop on the Xbox and play Borderlands, the first one. Fun shoot-around game, just a fun game to play with your friends or play solo. So shout out to my guys, Chandler, Caden, and Cameron for us playing and beating Borderlands together.
Great choice.
That's awesome.
No issues.
I like Borderlands 2 more, but no, that's a phenomenal choice. Honestly, I respect that a lot, Paul.
I appreciate it.
I also like Borderlands 2 more, but I'm not arguing against Borderlands. Great game.
My cousins played Borderlands.
Oh, sorry, Brenden.
I was going to say quickly, my cousins played that game religiously. They're like, hey, you want to play it? And I'm like, yeah, sure. You want to play Borderlands? Brother, we played that for like 4 hours last night.
Yeah, I remember playing Borderlands 2. I didn't actually get to beat it, but I remember the looting being a lot, and I don't for some reason I didn't care for it as much as the original Borderlands, but yeah, that's a game I wouldn't mind going back to play, Borderlands 2, and actually they had Borderlands 3 where they're in space too, if I recall.
I'd just like to switch my 5 to Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I forgot that game. It should be on there.
All right, fine. Okay, number 4 on my list. Again, as most of my top 5s there's always some nostalgia baked in here. But shout out to my cousin Chase, a.k.a. Wilmo, if he's listening. I'm sure he remembers us playing this. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like the arcade, and I believe it's the Nintendo version, the side-scroller.
Yep.
Had a lot of long nights, a lot of fun nights playing that game with my guy Chase, man. I always had to be Michelangelo. He was always, I believe, Raphael. But, man, a lot of good memories playing that game.
I also was always Michelangelo. Every time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll go to Prescott's number 4. Prescott has Mass Effect 2 as number 4 on his list.
Whoa.
My little brother is loving Prescott's list right now. If Mitchell was listening,
yeah,
those are 2 of his all-time favorites.
Yes, sir. Mike, number 4 on your list.
Number 4 on my list. Remember, number 5 is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. That should have been my number. I love Castlevania, but that might have been even higher than this next one. Final Fantasy VII. I'm so excited they're remaking it. The second part of that remake comes out in February, I believe. It's one of the best RPGs of all time. One of the greatest storylines of all time.
Iconic game, man.
What's that?
Iconic game. Any gamer loves Final Fantasy VII for sure.
It is brilliant game. So yeah, and I'm so excited to get the new part of the remake. Like, I cannot wait.
All right, Brenden, number 4 on your list.
Well, first off, I love that we're doing this top 5. Is honestly, it's made me really happy. It needs to be a top 20 to be honest, like for me to get fully what I want in there. Because all this, besides my top three is stagnant. Like that's it. But these other two could go whatever. It's the original Forza Horizon. It's a racing game. That was a free roam, and you start out in Colorado, and so you just get to drive around, do all these races, get money. The soundtrack was amazing. I still listen to so much music from that game now. It's just so awesome, just driving around doing crazy stuff for the first time ever in free roam.
I suck at racing games, so I never played it, but I know what that game is.
It's the best.
Did you ever play? I think it was called Burnout, where like there was a part in the game where you just try to cause wrecks and cause as much damage as possible.
Dude, Burnout Paradise was my game. I go over to my cousin's house. I'm like, oh, I know you have it, and I just go wrecking stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Brenden, what's number 3 on your list?
This is just what we call a crowd pleaser with all my friends that we've done it late at night. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The multiplayer, phenomenal. First off, Modern Warfare 2 is the best one of all time, but I had to go with what I played the most. Black Ops multiplayer is phenomenal. The zombies is what my friends and I stayed up till like 5 a.m. playing. We're like, we're going. We're going to keep going. And you can do stupid challenges. We can do stupid skits while we're playing. That game was the first shooter game I truly played other than Halo.
This might be a dumb question.
Sorry, Paul.
No, I was gonna say this might be a dumb question, so forgive me, guys. But is there like an end to the zombies? Like, do you actually beat the zombies levels, or does it just go on and on and on?
In newer ones, there are, because there's actually like storyline that they added on. But OG zombies, I haven't seen anything. I've seen people get to like level like 600, and I'm like, how? Why would you do this to yourself?
Gotcha. Wow.
There's
Michael,
a new MetaQuest game where you, on the MetaQuest 3, which I got, you can put it on, and your room turns into like the zombie thing. So like the portal goes through your door and your window. So you're standing in your room, and the zombies are coming in, and you're like trying to fight them off. So
that's sick.
Yeah, that's badass.
Gotta love zombies. Mike, what's number 3 on your list?
Number 3 on my list, Chrono Trigger. Probably nobody else has played this game, I assume. It is from it's from the people that do like Final Fantasy and stuff. Old game, Super Nintendo. My dog is named after my favorite character. His name is Magus. And basically what it is, it's a time travel Final Fantasy style game. One of the best storylines ever. A bunch of amazing friggin' characters. And Magus is a villain, the main villain of the game throughout most of it, that at the end, when you finally beat him, if you show him mercy, he can come onto your team. And he's just a badass to play with. I would not let people kill him. If I was like, no, we don't kill Magus. He joins us. And I wish it was remade to where people could do it and play it now, but like doing the trial thing, like you don't know, you're going through and doing stuff during the game, and you don't realize later on there's a trial that for real, Prescott's what it is. That MetaQuest's crazy. It's a great game, man. Maybe my favorite RPG of all time.
Very cool. Mike, I'm sure you're going to appreciate number 3 on Prescott's list. I think a lot of gamers would. Number 3 on Prescott's list is The Last of Us, the first game.
Great game.
That's the better choice. If he said 2, we'd have a different conversation. He said 1. That's great choice.
Both they would get a little repetitive towards the end where you're kind of doing the same, but the story was so great, you didn't care. It was amazing work. Great game.
All right, number 3 on my list, I want to give a shout out to my guy, Price, my cousin Price, my idol growing up, my boy Berto, my boy Woogie, and my guy Lefty, man. At one point, me and Isaac and Berto had a house together, and Berto had an Xbox, and man, me and Ryan, Woogie, Lefty, and Berto would be up long nights drinking beer, sipping green tea, if you know what I mean, and playing this game, Tiger Woods 03 on the Xbox.
Dang, a little golf game.
Yes, sir. My God, dude. My cousin Ryan, man, he's a real goofball, dude. He's hilarious. We all created a player, and he made his players so ridiculous, like with the way he looks and his outfit and everything, and it just made it that much more fun to play. But man, we had a lot of battles playing that game, but Ryan's character made it that much more fun when he do his little goofy dances and the outfit that he picked out for him and everything. A lot of good memories playing that game, man.
I'm going to say 2 of those names you said were fake, though. They're made up names. They're not real
nicknames. People. Oh, no, they're real people, I promise you. Real as can be.
Woogie and Lefty, I don't believe really exist. They're 2 of Paul's imaginary friends that would play the golf game with him.
Oh, man, they're imaginary now, but no, I promise you they do exist, sir. They are real people. All right, number 2 on my list. Mikey, I'm sure you might appreciate this. Brendan, I'm not sure. Number 2 on my list, I want to shout out to Prescott on this because I believe he introduced me to games, my first and second favorite games on my list. But number 2, Dead Space.
Oh, yeah. Shit. Here you go.
Dead Space is such a creepy game. Man, dude.
I've seen it.
PS5? Oh, I forgot it came out on
PS5.
PS5. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, man, I'm so jealous. Dude. Have you played and beat it already? I assume you have.
I have played. I am, I would say, a third through it. But what happened was Spider-Man came out.
Yeah.
And I switched to Spider-Man 100% of that, and now I'm back to Dead Space.
Hey, man. Dude, Dead Space is so fun. Has so much replay value, dude.
It's great. Leisure Suit Larry, for real. That's the golf?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man. Okay, number 2 on Prescott's list, Half-Life 2.
Oh, my God. That should have been on my list.
I've never played that game. What is that game?
Half-Life 2 it could possibly be, it's at least in tier 1 of greatest games ever made. It is one of those games that people to this day, like 20 plus years later, are like, when's Half-Life 3 coming out? It's like, bro, they're not making it. Clearly they're not. It was 20 years ago. And people are still like, yeah, but Half-Life 2 was so unbelievable. It's a first or third person shooter. I believe you could switch between the two. Started out as a PC game, came out for all the main consoles back in the day. It's incredible game. And man, maybe I wouldn't have got it into my top 5, but it belonged. Like, it's definitely, if somebody has in their top 5, I'm not arguing one iota. It is fantastic.
All right, Mike, number 2 on your list.
Metal Gear Solid 2. Yeah, I caught that. That was my all-time favorite game. If you took like what's your favorite game for the longest amount of time, that was it. And then my number 1 obviously is coming up, and that has a ways to go to get to that amount of time. But Metal Gear Solid 2 was one of the greatest accomplishments in gaming history. It was incredible. The characters and the story and the ending, which I won't give away because the PS5 is making a remake with the first 3 on it and stuff. And if people haven't gotten into that, play that damn game because it's just great. It's an incredible game. It's incredible.
Yes, sir. All right, Brendan, number 2 on your list.
Mike, I think I feel like you should know this. I feel like OG Star Wars Battlefront 2 is my number 2 on the list. Dude, the gameplay was, first off, phenomenal. The maps are awesome. The vehicles. The 501st campaign that starts off from Geonosis. Well, no, not start from Geonosis. So it starts from the Kiadi Mundi level. But that on, you go through the Empire, and so you massacre it. It's just phenomenal gameplay. It's one of the best campaigns I've ever played in my life. You get to relive everything.
I have the book based off that game. I'm not even joking.
Dude, I played it so much. I played that religiously. It was so like my parents it wasn't my parents. My mom's like, oh, we don't like shooting games so much. But Mom, it's Star Wars. I'm not doing anything bad here. And so I played that forever.
It's somewhere up there. I have too many Star Wars books, but somewhere in this stack over there are 2 Star Wars Battlefront books based off the first and second game.
They're both awesome.
All right, Brendan, here we are at number 1, man. What's number 1 on your list?
Well, first off, it should be this entire franchise. It should. But since we couldn't do that, I had to choose one of them. It's Halo 3. Oh my God. Like, that is the epitome of my childhood. I remember, Mom, I'm sorry to hear this, but sneaking around with my friends or going to my cousin's house playing it when I shouldn't have been able to, peeking around the couch, watching my brother and my dad play it, and then being able to play it. Finally, the matchmaking was perfect. The multiplayer is awesome. This campaign story, that story, brings me to tears every time at the end of the game. Also, amazing soundtrack, and you feel like a badass. If Microsoft wants free money, stop putting stuff into Halo Infinite. Just remake Halo 3 with better graphics. Crowd pleaser immediately, and I'll be in debt.
Make your Halo games couch co-op, you assholes. Why did you take that away from us after 3 games?
That's true. No, dude, playing campaign split screen as being Master Chief and Arbiter, peak.
That's part 2, right?
No, Halo 2 is where they introduce Arbiter, but you don't team up with Arbiter technically until Halo 3, even though Arbiter and Master Chief team up at the end of Halo 2 to stop the rings from firing.
Okay, then Halo 3 is my favorite Halo. I had them mixed up.
Dude, first off, Halo 1 through Reach, perfect.
It is. Agreed.
Perfect. Paul's going to play it. I'm going to get him to play it. Prescott, I need your help more than anybody. Help me convince this man.
You should play Halo.
Going to play Halo.
Halo's sick as hell. It is great.
I will carry you, but you got to see the story. It's so awesome.
The Flood, bro.
Everything's perfect.
All right, Mike, number 1 on your list.
Number 1 on my list is Telltale Walking Dead. The first season, because obviously I love them all, but the first season with Lee, I can't play the game without crying. If I talk about the game as we like, if I started talking about it, I would tear up. It's so good. And I know as the games went on, like your choices opened up more, and this game is pretty much the same story, no matter what choices you made, just certain people died instead of others. There wasn't major significant differences. And that kind of opened up as the series went on to different games. But I don't care. If your story is that incredible, the choice thing doesn't have to be that serious. But that ending with Clementine and Lee, it does not. I played that game so many times, you can't find something that I don't know about that game. I know every answer, what they do at every answer. I looked up, like, trying to find ways to do certain things. I don't want to say anything to give it away, but I was looking up stuff because I was especially the first time, I was so mad. God, I love that game. Like it's playing a movie. You're playing one of the best movies of all time. And I cannot recommend that game more. And it's easy. It's the easiest game in the world to play. You're just kind of making decisions. It's a button hitter. It's Telltale. Hit up at the right time. Hit square at the right time. You do some bullshit button hitting because you're watching a movie is what you're doing. You don't really care about the gameplay. Clementine, yes, and Lee. God, it's awesome. I really hope that people take the time to play that game. You will be happy you did.
What's it called again?
The Telltale's the name of the company that does it. Mm-hmm. They're the group that makes they have Arkham Asylum, like Batman. They have Batman games. They have Guardian games. They have everything. And it's basically like you choose Wolf Among Us. Legend. Yes, Prescott. Part 2 is still being made, by the way. Hey, Jordan, that Lee is legit, dude. When it comes down to the end with Lee and Clementine, it is like I can't deal. It's like John Q, bro. It is. Video games ain't supposed to get you that hard. Yeah. This game hits, dude. It's emotional. It's awesome. Especially if you play through it. You go through and you do so much with these two characters to survive like this apocalypse, and you go through and you meet so many people and you go through so much stuff, and then the ending comes, and the way they end it is just devastatingly sad. You just can't go through it without feeling it. I love that game. That game will forever be my favorite game of all time.
Sounds awesome, man. It really does. All right, here we are at number 1 on Prescott's list. Mike, I'm sure you'll appreciate this. Brenden, I'm not sure if you've ever played this one, but BioShock.
Oh, hell yeah. BioShock, especially the first one.
The first one,
one
God,
is
bro.
elite. Elite of the elite.
Yeah.
That was before I could play shooter. That was before I could play shooter games, really. So
it's worth playing it if you have a chance to play it, man. It really is.
I'll play it. I'll play it if you play Halo. I'll play it if you play it.
Get Halo 1 through 3, Paul, and play it. Get BioShock 1 through 3 and play it. And I need to still do Mass Effect 1 through 3. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen it, but I've never played it. Mitchell and Kevin beat the game. I never beat the game.
All right. Number 1 on my list. I said it earlier. Prescott introduced me to number 1 and number 2 on my list, but BioShock was also number 1 on my list.
Great game. Absolutely
so incredible, man. An amazing replay value as well. Just an amazing game.
Really is. Y'all had a lot of games that when I look, like BioShock easily could be in the top 5 of mine. Half-Life 2 easily could be in the top 5 of mine. Like there's a lot of good games on your guys' list. Even Brendan's. Like, I don't play racing games. I didn't know that one. I didn't really play Pokemon, but I know it. But even you had some that I was like, yeah, I don't play multiplayer, but those were badass games. Even I gave those a shot. Battlefront. Played that for a long time.
Horizon Zero Dawn almost made Prescott's top 5.
Forbidden West is good too. That's one of the ones we just beat recently. God of War 4 and 5 were both, I just haven't had enough time with them. But those were both games, especially part 4. That was like, damn, when you're playing it, you're like, this game's unbelievable. Spider-Man 2 as well was another one of those.
I'm surprised no Assassin's Creed's made the list, and I almost had Arkham City make my list, but it just quite didn't make it.
The Arkham game's sick as fuck too.
That's the best Batman of all time. Like, no one can say otherwise. That is the most overpowered superhero of all time. Arkham Batman. He knows in 30 seconds what all happened. I'm surprised Mike didn't say Red Dead. You wanting to play single player so much. I'm surprised you didn't Red Dead Redemption 2.
The one, oh my God, you know which one I forgot? That's Skyrim. It's like the best game of all time, and I forgot. Mitchell is gonna kill me. Skyrim would have been my second game. For those that don't understand, I get the show sheet today. I wasn't supposed to work. I came home last night from Disneyland. I can't hear out of my left ear. I'm supposed to go to the doctor. I get a call from my boss. Hey man, these people can't come in. I'm stuck by myself. Can you come in? I cancel my doctor's appointment. I go to work. I get off work. I have to go to the bank. There's some stuff going on with the money that I had to flip around, do all that. Get home, had to cook, then get on the show sheet. I'm like, okay, top 5 games. I know a bunch of good games, but the fact that I left off Skyrim is unforgivable. Unforgivable. But what was the game you just said? Red Dead. So I like Red Dead, but the GTA and Red Dead, the Rockstar games, are not as high on my list as most. They're great games, but not personally as high as Fallout, which should have been on there, Skyrim, which should have been on there, Knights of the Old Republic, which should have been on there. I had a lot of good games, but I missed those 3 belong in my top 5. I should have had these flipped around. My apologies, guys. I did the best I could.
No worries, man. I thought we might get through this show in an hour, but this top 5 conversation, I should have known better, man, because we were at about 45 minutes when we got to top 5, and then we were all kind of going down memory lane, man. So I enjoyed this discussion. This was a good top 5 tonight.
It was. Now let's end this before people hate us.
Yes, sir. Brenden, while we get you out of here, remind the people they can find you on Twitter.
You can find me at Brenden_Smith26.
Mike, let the people know where they can find you on Twitter.
At CD Piglet, guys, nice and easy. Camille and Ashley, thank you for the potato balls. I'm going to try them right after I get out of here.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.
Can't hear.